Think of the brain as a computer, just for like an analogy, right? You have the memory is like your long-term memory. So when things are stored in the computer, think of it as like a database with things being stored. So we are exposed as humans to, I mean, some studies show like 11 million different senses at any point in time. If you think of everything that's around you, if think about that as a computer, if you're processing that much and then trying to analyze it unconsciously and do something, your brain is going to overheat. There's not a fan big enough to do that. And we'd be sleeping 30 hours a day. It just wouldn't work. So everything that's coming into us, the brain eventually will take pieces of it, try to apply it just like in a database. It's going to look for relative patterns and it's going to save them. So it's going to look for experiences. It's going to find previous experiences and try to store it in your memory. But what's really interesting is it can't process all of that. So it filters out things. And this is the first key point, is where we say data is objective, but our interpretation of it is subjective. What we filter out is based off of our background, our experiences, our beliefs. So just the example, urban legend, right? You're going to go buy a new car, and let's say you want to buy a white SUV. Everyone's like, you know what? It's crazy. I see so many more white SUVs on the road right now. It's weird. It's like a sign. I'm like, no, it's not a sign. You just told your brain that that's important, so it's not filtering them out. Or when I did this in person, I used to wear like a pink shirt the first day. And then the second day I'd start out and say, how many people saw men wearing a pink shirt? And they'd raise their hand. I'm like, do you think I went around and paid people $10 to wear a pink shirt? No, it's that they were always there. Your brain just didn't think it was relevant to you because you didn't at that point care. But by me wearing it, you made it care. So what's going into our brain is filtered based off of that. And then once it's in there, though, the things that do make it, it's looking at kind of like our database to say, what are these different things that have happened in the past and how do I apply those? And it'll output a decision. And it's done unconsciously. So like you're walking on a street, there's a crane at like a skyscraper and someone's lifting a piano up on the crane. Do you sit there and say, let me measure the weather. Let me measure all these different parameters. Will it hurt me? No, you move, you walk to the other side. You don't take time consciously doing that. That is your brain going through this kind of shortcut thing. You can bring it to conscious and think about these things. But at the end of the day, this is why I like AI, because your brain is limited. The things that you're bringing in are filtered. They're based off my experience. And the other thing is, you had mentioned technology is evolving so fast. What's in my brain that happened 2 years ago might not be a relevant thing today. And look at that. Like, it's interesting. You look at things like grandparents, right? They grew up without even TV remotes like mine, right? They had to go to the TV and change the channel with a knob. And then I grew up with remotes, and now you can have like a remote on your phone and stuff. So what's fascinating is like my kids, they pick it up instantly. They're like swipe, swipe, swipe. My parents, they don't. It's because their brain is still remembering, well, where's the knob I turn? I'm like, there's no knob, Dad, it's a swipe. And they're like, what's a swipe? The kids don't have that old mental model. Their database is clean. So like, oh, this makes sense. It's intuitive, swipe, swipe, swipe. And it's just a good example with data, all of this information, all this evidence. It can be biased, right? Because we're making decisions that could be outdated. We're making decisions that align with what we think is important, which may not be the right answer.